Alright, this is Vegeta8259, and today I'm going to be doing part 1 of the Master Grade Wing Gundam review. And right off the bat, I'm going to go ahead and say that this is an amazing Master Grade. And for anybody that loves Gundam Wing, I definitely recommend this kit. And even if you're not a big fan of Gundam Wing, it's still a really, really nice Master Grade. It's very, very 2.0 like. Maybe not quite as good in terms of detail as the Zaku 2.0 or the Gundam 2.0, for example, but very, very close. I'll just give you a quick look at the box art. Very nice. You got Wing Gundam and Bird Mode. And I have painted this kit, but I did a pretty standard paint job. So everything you see here is pretty much going to be the same colors you'll get out of the box. Alright, speaking of colors, you get red, blue, white, and yellow, and you get a gunmetal color for the joints and the inner frame, which I thought was kind of nice because usually Bandai just does the inner frame in gray, but I've noticed with a lot of the Master Grades that have come out this year, they've started using this gunmetal color. I think the two new Unicorn Gundam Master Grades both had this gunmetal color as well. So maybe they're going to be doing that more in the future, I don't know. You also get 3 clear parts, one for the chest, one for the eyes, and another that goes on the shield, as well as clear green for the beam sabers. So, decals, all the decals are on the kit, so I don't really have the little sheet to show you. But most of the decals are going to be these little red and white little warning marks. You get a sheet of clear stickers, and you get a sheet of dry transfer decals. And you also get a small sheet of foil stickers for the eyes, the forehead cameras, the search eye on the chest, and the camera on the shield. So let's go ahead and go over articulation. That was my plan for part 1. The head is actually quite nice, and I'm going to raise this camera up a little bit. You got a double jointed neck. There's a ball joint up inside the head, so it can go up and down and side to side. But there's a joint down in the torso that only goes up and down, and you can't really go down very much, but you can really bring the head up pretty far. Which brings me to the one part of this kit that I did repaint, or not repaint, but change the color on, is the neck. The neck's going to be that gunmetal color like the rest of the inner frame, but I just like it white because a lot of the Gundams from Gundam Wing had white necks, so I decided to do it. Anyway, you've got a double ball joint in the torso. You've got a ball joint at the waist and then a ball joint about mid-torso, so Wing Gundam can lean forward and back and side to side. And he can rotate 360, but the trick is you're going to have to pull this ball joint out. Whoops, not that far. Anyway, you can see that double ball joint in there. Didn't mean to pull it all the way out. Anyway, just pull it out a bit to let it go 360. And you'll just have to be really careful with it. Otherwise, you're going to scratch up the skirt armor here. That is if you painted it. Of course, if it's just bare plastic, you probably won't have to really be concerned with that. Anyway, for the arms, they've got a joint inside the torso, which lets them come out pretty far. They can also go up a little bit and down a little bit with that torso joint. The shoulder armor is separate, and it can go up and down. And there is some sliding motion, but I'll get to that for the transformation. The arms themselves can come out about that far and go down, and of course they can go 360. There's rotation below the shoulder joint. You've got double jointed elbows, although to really get the full posability of the elbows, you'll have to move these little claw things down. And even when you move them, you're only going to get about that far, but that's just Wing Gundam's design. The way the elbow joint is made, if these yellow claws weren't here, you'd be able to get a full 180 bend. Anyway, you get the Victory Gundam style hands, which means you get a ball joint at the wrist, a ball joint for the thumb, and then the fingers are interchangeable. But I am glad to report that it works a lot nicer on Wing Gundam. I think primarily because Wing Gundam is a slightly larger mobile suit than the Victory Gundam. You get a set of fingers for a closed fist, like you see here. You get some spread out fingers. You get a trigger finger for the Buster Rifle. And you get a set of fingers for holding the beam saber. And you get all of these fingers for both hands, not just one. So anyway, where were we? I think we're at skirt armor now. The front skirts are actually on a double joint. It's a combination hinge and ball joint, so they can go up and they can kind of go side to side and wiggle around a bit. The side skirts are on a hinge, so they can just go up and down. They don't rotate like so, but they do have this funny little mechanism where they slide up for the transformation, but again, I'll get to that during the transformation. The back skirt can actually move. It can just go up and down. And moving on to the legs, I've still got the action base connector down here. The hips are on a peg joint, much like the Gundam 2.0 and Zaku 2.0. So they can go up as far as the front skirts will let them. And if you move the back skirts out of the way, they can go back pretty far as well. And they can go out pretty far as well. The knees are double jointed, but because of this large thruster on the back of the leg, you're only going to get about that much, which still is pretty good, a lot better than the high-grade Wing Gundam, but still not quite a full 180. And you'll notice that when you bend the knees, this knee armor kind of slides up slightly. For the ankles, you've got a double ball joint. There's a ball joint up in the leg and down on the foot. And the ankle armor is actually connected to the mid segment, so it's connected to neither the leg or the foot. It's actually connected to the little ankle joint in there. Anyway, you can get some pretty good side-to-side movement and a pretty good, well, let me not bend the foot, up and down movement as well. And then the ankle armor can rock back and forth a little bit. You've got a little bit of rotation, actually a lot of rotation. And then there's a joint inside the foot which lets it bend down. Unfortunately, it can't bend up, only down. And you've got these nice thrusters on the bottom of the feet here. Speaking of thrusters, I forgot about the backpack. Thrusters on the backpack can go up and down. The wings have very nice articulation. There's a joint right here which lets them go in and out, and they can rotate on that joint as well. And there's another little joint inside this blue part which lets them go out about that far. And actually the backpack has a joint up in the top here which rocks forward and lets the wings come up even more. And so the wings are already out this far and they haven't even unfolded yet. So anyway, now onto the wings themselves. I will mention that I modified these wings. I clipped off those little white fins just because I didn't really like them, so I just cut them off. Anyway, the wings basically have 3 points of articulation at each fin wing segment, and they can actually move independently. They don't necessarily have to move together, although they do move together, kinda. But yeah, you can get some really nice movement out of these wings. And when you have them fully folded out, I mean, look at that. They pretty much go all the way, almost straight up. So you can get some really nice range of motion out of these wings. So I guess that about does it for part 1 of Master Grade Wing Gundams review. Stay tuned for part 2, and I'm going to go over the inner frame and just give you my thoughts on that.